Hello all, welcome back. I hope you're doing really well. Lots again to cover today from across the crypto space. One of the biggest emphasis points that I want to make though throughout this video is around this piece of news. So the Fed is expected to raise interest rates by 0.75 of a point and then signals it could slow the pace. This is something and general narrative that I've been talking about across many of my videos now for an extended period of time, as it is going to be one of the best ways to, or for us to determine when we may see some bullish action return to the crypto markets. The Federal Reserve is expected to raise those interest rates again by 75 basis points or 0.75% Wednesday, but also could be signaling that a slowdown to the size of its rate hikes throughout December. Markets are also braced for the Fed to end rate hikes in March, and this goes hand in hand with what the markets have been pricing in. And my previous videos talking about the terminal interest rate, that is the crucial number that people are looking at. And as we can see here, March level of being 5%. I think the markets are pricing in somewhere in the region of 4.5% to 5% on the top end. And market pros already say a more hawkish Fed could trigger a violent reaction. And this is fundamentally what it boils down to. If we do see the 75 basis point hike to happen within November, so this current month, and then they begin to slow down or maintain a steady pace throughout December in order to combat inflation, things will start looking better throughout the markets. Conversely, if the Fed then decides to become even more hawkish and continue their very aggressive rate hikes throughout December and even early 2023, things could get much, much worse for not only the crypto markets, but the equities markets, which of course share a strong correlation with one another. Jerome Powell is also expected to sound somewhat hawkish in his briefing Wednesday and emphasize the Fed's goal is to crush inflation. The Federal Reserve is, of course, expected to raise those rates, which is a complete given. And 𝗟𝗜𝗙𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗑𝗥 has said he expects Chair Jerome Powell to indicate during his press briefing that the Fed discussed slowing the pace of rate hikes, but did not or is not willing to commit to that as of yet. He expects the Fed would then raise interest rates by 0.5 percentage point in December. So we see a fall there from 75 basis points to 50 basis points. So we could see a 75 basis point hike in November, 50 in December, and then potentially another 50 basis point hike either in January or February, leading up to that terminal rate. So as it currently stands at the moment, this is actually playing out into the hands of what the markets were currently expecting. But like I said, it's one of these, sell the rumor or buy the rumor, sell the news. If everything goes to plan according to what the markets have been forecasting, pricing and predicting, we could definitely see some bullish action return to these markets, particularly because majority of equities at the moment are trading way off of their 52-week lows. And the same goes for majority of cryptocurrency projects, i.e. in short, many companies and cryptos are highly undervalued at the moment, and we'll begin to see that speculative capital flow back into these markets as soon as there are some green shoots of life for these very, very large economies. Anyway, let's get into some more crypto news then. Hedera hot wallet has been compromised. Another day, another hack it seems. Client funds are apparently safe and the loss is being covered by their company reserves. The hot wallet was hacked for $28 million earlier this evening. So that's today of filming on November the 2nd before midnight on November the 1st. Client assets, Fireblocks, or any of the old cold storage addresses are not affected. It's company procedure to keep 99% of our user funds in cold storage to limit the impact of these types of events. The hack is isolated and quarantined to our Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDC hot wallets. So of course, the rest of this thread goes on to talk about insurance funds and also how they're performing ongoing security checks. But it's good to see that they are practicing what many other sort of exchanges preach in terms of a 99% user fund cold storage sort of policy, which of course the same cannot be said for majority of banks throughout the financial and monetary systems globally. It's good to see that this kind of practice is taking place within the crypto markets, particularly because a lot of these hacks are rife. Again, not your keys, not your crypto. Unfortunately, you're always at risk if you don't have the keys to your particular wallet and it's not in something you're full control of. Of course, nearly every single exchange, centralized exchange that exists has a centralized or custodial wallet policy. Always worth transferring those off exchanges if you can. Wanted to take a quick look at the Fear and Greed Index. It's not something I've covered in quite a while now, but what we can see here, interestingly enough, is that last month we were sitting around the extreme fear levels of 24, and we have now breached back up towards fear of 30. We had a few good weeks on some cryptocurrencies like Quant. I know HBAR did a small run a little while ago. Looks like we've given up majority of those gains. And again, I'm still just accumulating throughout these sort of lower level phases that we're currently experiencing. If I go back into the Fear and Greed Index over time on the 1-year chart, we can see we have jumped from October, which ended with a bit of a whimper for majority of the crypto markets. Looks like we kept bottoming out at around 20 on this Fear and Greed Index measure, which is still substantially better than what we saw back in June with those really sort of low lows of 6 single digits for the Fear and Greed Index, which is not something that we'd seen previously. So there is a little bit of optimism returning to the markets, and we can see that being reflected as well in the total cryptocurrency market cap figures. So for the longest time now, I mean, if we go back to sort of August time, we went back above $1 trillion. But since August, there has been effectively a slide. The plug got pulled ever so slightly more on liquidity within the markets. We can now see that we're just about back above a $1 trillion market cap for cryptocurrencies across the board, which again shows that there are some shoots of life returning, a little bit more investor optimism and a little bit more of a risk on attitude. By no means anything near bull run worthy. However, it is good to see nonetheless. Circle USDC as well is gaining in principle approval to operate in Singapore. So a USD stablecoin, obviously by Circle Pay, backed by real US dollars, gaining some more exposure in the Asia regions. Again, I've had a lot of focus on the sort of Asia Pacific regions of the globe because they really do seem to be on board with integrating cryptocurrency into majority of their traditional systems, and they look to be a massive advocate of usage going forward out into the future. Binance's CEO as well has said that he'll probably join the Twitter board if Elon Musk asks him to. Obviously, this is off the back of Elon's takeover of Twitter. The deal finally concluded, and Twitter will be delisted from the stock exchanges as it is taken private. Binance, among some of the other companies, did actually provide a stake of capital to help Elon take over the company with that bid. And speaks to reason with the majority of changes he's making at the moment. We could see Twitter become slightly more of a powerhouse in its involvement with cryptocurrencies across the board, potentially cryptocurrency integrations for payments, maybe tipping of different creators throughout the platform. There are some sweeping changes that are taking place, and this could be a great opportunity for Twitter to get more involved with cryptocurrency. And as many of us know behind the scenes, it is used a hell of a lot in order to share information quickly and gain exposure for different projects. And this could be a bit of a blessing for cryptocurrency adoption going forward into the future if some kind of integration takes place. Particularly, of course, if CZ ends up on the board, he can have a little bit more influence on that. The Philippines as well, Union Bank is launching Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. So again, we're seeing that further expansion and adoption throughout these bear markets, which again is just going to be or pay dividends going forward when we see the next run for when these projects begin to take off. You'll have more users have access to purchase these different cryptocurrencies. Right then, that's enough of what's going on in the crypto world and some macro news. Let's have a look at Hedera more specifically. I've got 2 updates I wanted to cover, some for Hashpack and some for SaucerSwap Labs. So Hashpack wallet update of 4.41 has just released, which now features the auto associate manage features. You can now update your account auto associate settings from the settings page, and to avoid unwanted tokens or airdrops, they recommend keeping this as low as possible. Now, for many of you that you may be confused, I know a lot of sort of people that watch this channel do use Hashpack. Obviously, it's the wallet that I've been using for a long time. However, other wallets, I don't know which ones specifically, but we've got other wallets within the space. You don't actually have to auto associate tokens on some of those wallets when you create them. And this, of course, enables tokens to be airdropped to you, NFTs to be airdropped to your wallets, similar to how other chains function. What Hashpack is now enabling is users to specify a number of slots within their wallet that they can enable auto associations to work. So for some of the use cases that I potentially see, there are various different airdrops if you guys are involved in different NFT communities, and the same goes for different token projects. Obviously, there's lots of different partnerships happening across the space. If you own particular token of type A, an NFT of type A, project B of token B may potentially airdrop some tokens or NFTs to project A holders because they've got a bit of a partnership behind the scenes. As it currently stands, of course, you need to make sure you associate those tokens. Classic example might be Earthlings as well, which do it in project. If you hold a particular one of their NFTs, you get other NFTs airdrops in the future. you can turn on auto associate for a couple of slots when you know those airdrops are going to go live, and that will enable you to not have to worry about associating those tokens ahead of time in order to receive them once the airdrop takes place. Now, of course, don't forget this could be potentially have an implication for security, and which is why they're recommending to keep it at 0, because this does enable as well other people from around the space to just airdrop random tokens to different wallets that have these features enabled. And at the moment, of course, we don't know of any particular exploits. However, me personally, and I'm sure a lot of you will be the same, you don't want random NFTs that you didn't want or tokens that you didn't want appearing in your wallets, because potentially there could be a bit of risk. Please note as well, you can't set auto associate slots lower than the number of slots that have already been used. For example, I have 10 slots and 2 tokens have already been auto associated. The lowest I can now set that to is 2. Unfortunately as well, you cannot currently tell how many auto association slots have been used within your wallet. However, there is a Hedera improvement proposal to enable such data going forward. We'd recommend incrementally stepping down a couple of association slots at a time, and remember to restart your browser, possibly your whole computer, to get the latest extension update. So again, it's just them expanding out their product offering, and with some different Hedera improvement proposals coming along the way, gives users a lot more information about what's going on with their wallets, token balances, and different connections that are being established. The other major update that Hedera Hashpack has dropped is the new Hedera community sort of tab on their main website under the Explore tab over here. So I click on it and it reloads. We can now see they've got a very nice collection of different projects from across the space. Hashpack has collaborated with the biggest community projects on Hedera to help you get started across the ecosystem. And you've got different categories here ranging from NFTs, DeFi, gaming, and other. So if I take a quick scroll through this, of course, I'll leave it linked down in the description for you guys. But it's a nice way to find projects that Hashpack have listed on this website and are big projects from across the space. And taking a quick glance across it, I fully agree with the majority of the projects they've popped on here. So NFT marketplaces, of course, you've got Zoos, which is the number one that I use. You've got others like HashAxis, HashGuild, and GoMint. These are pretty antiquated now. They're from right around the beginning of the ecosystem. HashAxis has some volume. Obviously, Zoos Marketplace is pretty much the go-to for majority of the blue chip projects. We've got the NFT launch pads for sort of minting, creating, and different things for your NFT collections. Of course, you've got 𝗟𝗓𝗏 in there, Hash Tools, Hedera Sentient, and NFT Tier. You've got the big NFT collections that you can explore on here. Hangry Baboons, Dead Pixels, Creamies. A lot of these should be familiar to you guys that watch the channel. I've pretty much covered almost all of these different projects as they've been released. Of course, as well, we've got Hedera DeFi. So we've got SaucerSwap. Plenty of videos on my channel about those guys. Same being said for Stader. You've got Hashport, which I have a tutorial on. HeliSwap or HeliSwap, which I've focused on recently because they went live. And of course, you've got HSuite as well, which are looking to do those smart node based alternatives to smart contracts built natively on Hedera. Still waiting for those guys to go fully live. I know they appear to be gearing up for some of their pen testing. We should see some more out of them soon. And then we've got the sort of Hedera Gaming. We've got that AAA Lithos title, and of course Earthlings.land. We've got Creamlands, which is coming soon. You've got the Lucky Tokens, Meta Wizards, Dropper, which of course as well is where a lot of mints take place for, say, Earthlings, Bavel Games, and Hederian Dragons. Again, across many of my videos, I've covered tons of these. And we've got the domain name registrars of Hashgraph Name and Web23. You've got Galaxy and Headstarter, as well as some different community resources. Definitely recommend Helping Hands if you guys are new to the ecosystem, which is a Discord server to help onboard people, lots of friendly people. Again, just be careful what information you share. And Mints and Drops as well is a pretty cool Discord server, which gives information regarding newest events that will be going live on Hedera. So they're the big changes at the moment and updates for Hashpack, some really big ones. Wanted to round the video off looking at SaucerSwap Labs. I will have a dedicated video for when this goes live. However, single-sided staking is imminent. Recall that Source Staking will offer the following benefits: a triple reward structure, including HBAR native staking, 0 risk of impermanent loss, alongside deflationary buybacks, which have the potential to be huge. I will cover that in a dedicated video once this goes live, showing you guys how to do it. The process will be really simple, but I'll give more detailed breakdowns on expected rewards, how the triple reward structure actually functions, and also how powerful these buybacks could actually be. We can see here which aspect of single-sided staking are people most excited about. Pretty excited about the triple reward structure, as many people are as well. And you can see here as well, the single-sided staking will of course be powered in part by the HBAR native staking rewards. Currently, there is 125 million HBAR on SaucerSwap, which is being provided via the liquidity pools. This will all be staked natively to the nodes across Hedera, they're obviously the governing council, and that would yield around 8 million HBAR in rewards per year from the 6.5% APY, of which will all be swapped to source tokens and then of course redistributed via the different reward mechanisms on SaucerSwap Labs. And of course this only being possible on Hedera, and they've obviously got some other tricks up their sleeve as well to increase the value of the source token. It's something that I am quite fond of and I think will do very well as a HTS token as the Hedera ecosystem gains exposure going forward. Make sure you're subscribed and you've got that notification bell turned on so you get notified of when I upload a video, because of course I will have a tutorial with way more information on this once it goes live. Anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment if you've got something to say, and until the next one, I'll catch you then. Cheers.